Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Go Places, a show, anniversary show that, gosh, it's 12 years now that we've been doing this, and it's all about increasing awareness about the courageous efforts of our police, our fire, all of our heroes, our military, our medical, and many shows we bring to you to inform you and educate you more about the judicial process, about your political candidates, and also about the leaders in the community who you elect. And you're going to hear some very good supportive measures and stories with the guests that we have on today. I want to thank Paul Muller, the support that he gives us regularly, his altruistic efforts that he provides, charitable efforts with many, many organizations, not only in Bucks County but abroad. He's the president of the Tri-State Toyota Dealers Association, and that encompasses, oh my goodness, about 130 dealerships. So I can't thank him enough. We call him Mr. Ubiquitous. Remember,
we can't ring
he's all
bell.
over the place. And fortunately, we had him here today to speak to and say hello to our very highly esteemed guests that I'm going to be introducing in a moment. Charlie, my co-host, we want to thank you for all the work that you do, supporting me from time to time. And let's thank all the...
That's a job all by itself.
It is a job all by itself. And we just finished for the Tour of Honor a wonderful show at Parks Casino in Bensalem. And we want to thank all the supporters that help us to raise funds so that we have the money to pay for the transportation to bring our military. And I don't want to give too much away, but we bring 5-6 busloads of military so that we can show them our support and our honor for what they've done to keep this country as it is today, the safest and the best country in the world as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it was a great show. Jerry Fretz, who is one of our board members for the Bucks County Tour of Honor, Joe Safran, myself, Charlie Esposito, it goes on and on. But a lot of the people came out, and the support was wonderful. As a matter of fact, let me introduce my guests. Gene DiGirolamo, one of our county commissioners in Bucks.
How you doing, Tom? Good to be with you.
I'm doing fantastic. Yeah. And Pamela Van Blunk, who is our existing county controller since last year. Welcome aboard,
Thank
Pamela.
you for having me.
Oh, we're happy to have you here. So that people can learn a little bit about your background as well as Gene, because everyone knows Gene.
Well, I don't know about that, Tom.
Yeah, you've been around a long time.
I have.
Doing good things.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk a lot about that.
Yep.
Today as well. But Gene was there along with Pamela this past Sunday, supporting the car show, and for the first time we call it the Fall Festival, because we had a lot of vendors out there as well.
Yep. It was a great event. It really was, Tom. And I'm glad to see the amount of money you raised for a good cause, and as you talked about it, to help support our veterans here in Bucks County, because we do owe the men and women, our veterans, an awful lot, a deep sense of gratitude for them, and anything we can do. There's an old saying out that says, we will be judged as a society by how we treat our young people and our old people, and I always include in that when I talk about that and how we treat our veterans. So we have to make sure that we take care of our veterans.
Well put. Well put. And I couldn't support that any more.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, the mayor was out there, and Barbara did a phenomenal job.
Barbara D'Amidio, I mean, she's just a force, a spark of electricity. Mm-hmm. She's incredible.
Yep. And not the many
the other volunteers that
we
there. had there. Mayor D was there.
Mayor Joe was there.
Yep,
I know he usually brings a couple of his antique cars and has them there in the show. And
beautiful cars. Yeah. Pamela, they're just incredible. The show's great to walk around and take a look at.
Yeah, we were there.
It was a beautiful day. Yeah. We really lucked out. Unfortunately, the week before was a rain out.
It was.
But it ended up being a beautiful day, and the cars were phenomenal. They were so much fun to look at.
They really are, and they go back to the 1920s, for crying out loud.
Yep. And give a shout out to Joe Safran as well.
Joe Safran,
he's
great,
taking this
remarkable. He's been the chair. From the very beginning. Yep. I can't believe we've been around the Tour of Honor. Well, we started with Honor Flight, and then we created our own organization up here, and it really took off Frank Pirano, who was there, Judge Pirano. He's on our board as well. Paul Muller is one of our honorary board members. I may be missing a few people out there, but there was, Brian Fitzpatrick, our congressman.
Yep.
He helped hand out the trophies, the awards and everything.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think. Am I forgetting anybody? Well, I'm sure I am, but it was great. It was supported by everyone out there, all walks of life. The children loved it, and it was a great show.
And I can give you an exact date of it.
Yeah, that's in October sometime.
Right.
Coming up, of course. We're 27th of September, so it has to be October.
Yeah.
It's I believe the first Sunday. It's not far away.
No, and I think we have a Survivors coming up, but I'll find out those dates during the break.
Great shows. We're literally 10 minutes from the FOP Lodge 5.
Yep.
11630 Caroline Road. Right by the Pepsi plant. You make a left there. It's easy to get to. Plenty of room, and the kids, the children, and some of the old timers, as myself, you'll love the music that they're playing. But let's talk today about some of the roles of the county commissioners. An important task and an incredible responsibility with more than 640,000 residents in a county of Bucks.
Yep.
It's a big county and a huge task, a huge responsibility. And I want the listeners to be apprised more about the roles and the responsibilities of our county commissioners, which is important.
Yep. Yeah, Tom, when you talk about the size of Bucks County, not geographically, but the amount of people, 640,000+ people live here in Bucks. In Pennsylvania, there are 67 counties in Pennsylvania. Bucks County is the 4th largest by population.
Wow.
And that makes Philadelphia first, Allegheny second, Montgomery, which we're right next to third, and Bucks County is the 4th largest county. And so it's a lot of people. It's a great, wonderful place to live. And your county government has a lot of responsibility for taking care of people in our county. It really does. I mean, we have an awful lot of responsibility. I sometimes think that people don't realize how big the responsibility of the county commissioners are. I mean, you have your local municipalities and your council people and your school board. You have your state government, which is your state representative, your state senator, the governor. You have your federal part of the government, and that is your congressman, Brian Fitzpatrick.
Correct.
He's our congressman, and we have 2 United States senators here in Pennsylvania. But county government falls right in the middle of everything.
It sure does.
I mean, we have an awful lot of responsibility. We have a budget of about $750 million.
Wow.
Awful lot of money that we spend, and a lot of that is also that we manage state money coming to the county and federal money coming to the county. And when you look at our budget, Tom, I mean, a large part of that deals with human services.
Wow.
When I talk about human services, and Pam knows this very well, being a controller, because she watches all the spending, and she can talk about that a little bit.
We're definitely going to get to you on that, Pam. Yes, absolutely.
I know.
Can I call you Pam? Or Pam?
Pam.
Good. Pam's good.
Yeah, but the part about human services is, when I look at it, is drug and alcohol treatment, people with mental health issues, senior citizens and all the issues related to them, and people with all kinds of disabilities, whether it be physical disabilities, autism, developmental disabilities. The county handles all that money to help these people out. Awful lot of responsibility. And where we get involved is where, for instance, if a person needs treatment for a drug or alcohol addiction, and that's something I've been doing my whole life and been an advocate for, helping.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah, the years as a state representative.
So they don't have insurance. They don't qualify, or maybe they haven't tried to qualify for medical assistance, or it's called Medicaid.
Okay.
they don't have the money to pay for treatment, or the family doesn't have the money to pay for treatment.
Sure.
They come to the county. That's like the place of last resort for help. And those are the people that really need help, and those are the people that the county get involved in and puts them into treatment, pays for it themselves, or tried to get them enrolled in the Medicaid or medical assistance program. We don't turn anybody away. We try to help everybody. Everybody that needs help, there's a way to get treatment, whether it's for drug and alcohol, mental health, if you're a senior citizen, or if you need help with a disability. And that's a big part, a really big part of what the county does.
That's incredible. And for the listeners to understand that, it's important. Mental health.
And I would just add on to that is a big part of it. But people may not realize that the county also runs our county prison. Mm-hmm. We have a county nursing home. Our parks, our county parks, they run. So there's a lot of programs that
the court system,
the
whole court system,
Yeah.
the sheriff's office, which is a big part of law enforcement here in Bucks County.
Sure.
The county has oversight over that as well.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
So when I explain kind of the different roles, if you will, that the county government has. Really, our founding fathers were genius. They really were. So like the federal system, like our state system, our county system is made up of checks and balances, right? It's important to have checks and balances in your county government because that leads to transparency, it leads to honesty.
Yes, it does.
So the county commissioners have the authority and control over the budget. So, like Gene said, it's almost quarter of a billion, dollars.
Sure.
And so they have the power to enter into contracts. The commissioners get to decide where that money's going to be spent. I'm the county controller. I don't have that power. So the commissioners have that power to decide where that money's going to go, where to prioritize it, and they have the power to enter into contracts. The commissioners do not handle any cash, so they just make the decisions. The county controller, the fiscal watchdog of the county spending.
My God, how important is that?
It's very important because it's a balance it's a check and balance in our system to the county commissioners.
Sure. So
basically my job is to make sure that everything the commissioners do is on the up and up. Basically it's transparent, it's legal. So for instance, if the county commissioners would want to approve or get an invoice paid, but it was for $25,000 and it was not approved at a public meeting, I have authority to stop payment on that. So I have authority not to approve payment of that.
Sure.
So it's just, my office also verifies to make sure that, even if the commissioners did everything correctly, which of course most of the time they do, then I make sure that the services were actually provided, and they were provided under the contract. So kind of make sure everything's legal. Now, the controller does not handle any cash either. So the commissioners approve where to, enter into contracts, approve where the money goes. And the controller approves payment after verifying that it's legal to do so. And then the treasurer is the one that handles all the cash. So they bring cash in and they send cash out, essentially.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's a nice checks and balances.
A lot of roles here that, and you can see that everyone's working in tandem with each other. These links, they're so strong and important, so the effectiveness happens, which is what you've just pointed out most eloquently. So the money you watch, Gene, and the other two county commissioners, they decide this is where we want the money to go. You keep an eye on it, the system of checks and balances. The treasurer's involved, where that's the person who's writing the check. Yep. And it's serious responsibilities, especially in a huge county as it is.
And I know, Tom, maybe you want to get into it a little bit later.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's an election this year.
Well, we're going to talk about that, how important that is, how important I feel it is. You out there listening should feel very important, as it being very important. You're listening to Pamela Van Blunk. Pam, who is our present existent city or county controller, and Gene DiGirolamo, one of our county commissioners. Charlie Esposito at my left, to your right, We're going to take a quick pause for support for all of our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. We have a lot more to talk about with the county's roles and their responsibilities that you really need to hear about. Don't go anywhere. We'll return after a few moments.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota is the choice for your next vehicle purchase or service this season. With new Toyota models available for immediate delivery and over 100 certified used and pre-owned vehicles for any budget, plus service specials to keep you on the road to victory. Shop or schedule online at teamtoyota.net or choose one of our 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Are you part of the team?
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you because your opinion does matter.
Are you a parrot head?
Away again in Margarita.
Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Welcome back to Let's Go Places. We're right here in the new car showroom at 746 East Lincoln Highway. Team Toyota, the proud sponsor and the home of the Tour of Honor, the Bucks County Tour of Honor, which Paul has so graciously bestowed upon us. So there's a lot of things going on here. The Heroes program, I'll touch on this quickly. The Heroes program, which is very important for all of our police, fire, military, medical, and family members. Stop in here when you have the need for a vehicle and see me, Tom Mellon. I've been doing this for 15 years, Gene.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
God bless, Tom.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's incredible. But people say, you must have sold thousands of cars. I haven't sold one, and they go, stop it. I said, really? I just help people buy what they need. Last time I checked, they're not going up and down the streets on scooters or bicycles. People need vehicles. So come in and see me for special pricing. That's the important thing, especially with the way that today's economy is. Come in and see me, 215-768-6505. And we're back here with Pamela Van Blunk, the president since 2022 and up to the present, our county controller, as well as Gene DiGirolamo, one of our county commissioners. It's important that you're listening to all the responsibilities that they have. They're not just sitting behind a desk and watching the birds fly outside up in Doylestown. There's a lot of things going on in the county with the roles and all the different segments that have to be covered. About that, it's traumatic. Traumatic.
As the news media tried to say, it was stealing. It wasn't looting. I don't know what their definition of looting is, but it sure looked like looting to me.
Yep, that's what it looked like to me, too.
Yeah.
I didn't
mean to interrupt you. I just...
there was another article I read in the paper where Walmart nationally is going to close a number of stores because of what happened in Philadelphia. They just can't control the crime and the shoplifting and the gangs that are stealing. They're going to close stores because of that nationally. I don't think any in Pennsylvania, but what happened in Philadelphia is just unacceptable.
Commerce,
it really is.
As you just pointed out, Gene and Pam, and Charlie, commerce has been taking a beating in Philadelphia to the point. Where is our district attorney? Where is his? And this is me speaking now. May not necessarily be the opinion of some of the members of WBCB or anyone, but most people share because I talk about it and support what I'm saying. Where is the district attorney when it comes to these situations that are occurring in Philadelphia? And I don't know how many people know about this, that up to $500 in retail merchandise, if someone walks into a 7-Eleven and just just goes right up and steals anything under $500 of merchandise and walks out the door. No prosecution at all.
Yeah. Fortunately, here in Bucks, we got a great district attorney.
Yeah,
Amen to that.
Yes.
Matt, God bless him.
Matt Weintraub.
Absolutely.
He just does a phenomenal, him in his office.
He sure does.
The detective does a phenomenal job.
Great people.
Unfortunately, Bucks County sits right on top of Philadelphia. And a lot of that crimes at times comes into Bucks County.
Transfers right over.
I mean, our police departments do a phenomenal job. But we've got to support our police. To me, that is a top priority for myself and Pam.
Absolutely.
We're both running for county commissioner.
County commissioner,
this year.
yes.
Yeah, just wanted to let people know that Pam's my running mate. So
absolutely.
we're
and I'm excited about that because with your experience.
Yeah, public safety is a top priority of us. It's a top priority for people who we talk to. And I'll let Pam talk a little bit about, we've been very honored to get some endorsements.
We have, and I
Yes,
was just going to, if you want to talk about the endorsements, I'm going to pull up the crime stats because crime, unfortunately, has increased significantly here in Bucks County over the past year and a half.
So
everywhere.
We've been very honored to get the endorsements of two large police groups. That's the Bucks County Fraternal Order of Police, FOP, Lodge 53, Pam, and also the State Troopers Association, which are our state police, which is Lodge...
I think it was 40. I think it's 40.
Right.
Lodge 40. So
Lodge 40.
The two main police organizations that cover Bucks County, me and Pam have been endorsed by both of them.
They're aware of what your initiatives are and the support that you'll continue to provide, not only for these organizations, but for the people. You're aware what's important, both of you, Pam and Jean, running for county commissioners, and please remember, they're looking out for your public safety. It's not, and the organizations, as was just indicated, Lodge 53 and our state police, they're aware of what can be done effectively to keep the county of Bucks as safe as possible.
And both endorsements, Tom, were unanimous.
Yes.
So there was no back and forth.
Yeah, there was no thinking about it.
No, they held a vote by all of the members, and it was a unanimous decision. So we're very honored, and we thank all of the Bucks County Police law enforcement community for that endorsement because it really means a lot to us, and we will have their backs.
And that's important. That really is. Having the right people in the right place.
We will be their partners, making and keeping Bucks County safe.
And we also have the endorsement. It was really hard to get. I'm only joking, from our sheriff, Fred Harron.
Fred Harron.
Yeah.
Fred.
So we've been endorsed by him, and Fred's been really outspoken about stopping this crime here that's going on in Bucks County, especially the crime that's coming from Phil. Pam's got some statistics that Fred's been using.
Fred downloaded obtained, I should say, these crime statistics from the Pennsylvania Uniform Crime Reporting System. So comparing 21 to 22, in Bucks County, robbery has increased 22.7%.
That's too high.
Well, that's a lot.
Sexual assault has increased 17.1%.
Ouch.
Theft has increased 21.8%. It doesn't get better. I was being facetious. Burglary is up 32.9%. And auto theft is up 30.6%. And that's just Bucks County. That is not, it's higher than it is in our Commonwealth.
Fred and I spoke about it because obviously we do a show, Fred and I and Charlie, Behind the Badge, and then we do Justice for All with Matt Weintraub and Jennifer Shorn, who is doing a great job as well as the first ADA, first assistant. But Fred and I talked about this, and we believe that a lot of the crime is coming over from Philadelphia, and there's nothing stopping these hoodlums in Philadelphia coming right up 95 and stealing cars, robbery, and then right back down 95. Which is important that you both have the endorsement of the state police as well.
Yeah, and maybe we could talk about that a little later, but we're talking about crime. We also need to be talking about the crisis of drug addiction.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of these crimes that we're talking about, the robberies, the stolen cars, the shoplifting, all these crimes that are really affecting a lot of neighborhoods here in Bucks County are being committed by people who are addicted to drugs.
That's the origin.
And that's something we need to have a discussion about also. That's something I've been an advocate for my 30 years as an elected official. I've really been an advocate on trying to get people help when it comes. You got to be responsible for your actions. That means you have to go to jail, but we also should be very proactive about getting people into treatment before they get into jail.
Absolutely. And for 25 years as a state representative,
I was, yes.
You've enacted a lot of aggressive laws for substance abuse and mental illness.
Yep, and me and Pam talk about this all the time. I mean, I actually got the bill passed during the Ed Rendell administration that created the Department of Drug and Alcohol here in Pennsylvania. It was the first new department that was created in like 30 some years. So we have a Department of Drug and Alcohol programs now. We have a secretary that oversees most of the treatment here in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
And, it was a good thing to do because when decisions are made with the governor for funding, for bills getting passed, for all the things, we have a secretary of Drug and Alcohol Programs that's sitting in the room now making decisions with the governor and the other secretaries. And that's been in the governor Rendell's administration, so that's been that's probably 13 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, we got that enacted.
It's like a vicious circle, and it has to be some way broken so we can stop the drugs, the thieves.
And Gene continues that work here on the county level. And I will join him on the county level and, getting that help before they're in prison, but also if they are in prison, getting them the help there. So, to break that cycle of addiction and crime.
Yeah. And again, me and Pam talk a lot about this because we're both on the prison board as well.
Wow,
and
that's also key.
Our county prison houses right now about 800 and some prisoners, inmates, male and female. The number of them that come into the prison that have an active addiction, and when they get to the prison, they need to be detoxed because they're going through withdrawal.
Of course,
it almost at times it's as high as between 7 and 10 a day.
Wow,
coming into
That's
the prison.
Staggering.
7 to 10 a day, 200 to 300 people a month that come into the county prison need to be detoxed and are addicted. So that tells you who's committing the crime.
That's true.
They're committing the crime. So we're trying to do our very, very best. But just because somebody gets into prison, gets detoxed, and stays there for a while, doesn't mean that they're in recovery.
No.
Because they need to get treatment even outside when they're released.
Continuity.
That's really, really important.
No, it sure is. And what you're both doing and what you're aggressive to continue is so important for the county. You're listening to Pamela Van Blunk, and also who is our county right now controller and running for county commissioner, along with Gene DiGirolamo. We have a lot more to talk about. Some of the measures that are being taken with substance abuse, with mental illness, which is very important. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll return after a few moments to talk a little bit more with our county controller and county commissioner Gene DiGirolamo. We'll be right back.
Right. Thanks, Tom.
Right.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota is the choice for your next vehicle purchase or service this season. With new Toyota models available for immediate delivery and over 100 certified used and pre-owned vehicles for any budget, plus service specials to keep you on the road to victory. Shop or schedule online at teamtoyota.net or choose one of our 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Are you part of the team?
Are you a parrot head?
Wasted away again in Margaritaville.
Not that kind.
Oi dana, mother to papuga.
That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny-O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you because your opinion does matter.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Welcome back to Let's Go Places, and we're covering a lot of serious issues with Pamela Van Blunk, who is our county controller, and also Jean DiGirolamo, county commissioner, who are both running for county commissioners that's coming up. And it's very important that you understand their plan, their initiatives, because, Charlie, they're on the right track. There's no doubt about that. They're on the right track.
It seems like the
experience that they
hard
that
way
they
to
have.
go, yeah.
Yeah. So remember that when election time comes, because we're going to be talking more about it. And this is an hour show. I'll be talking about it to people that I run into, because these two have it all. They have the experience. But let's get back to some other issues here, Pam.
So when we were talking about public safety, one of the issues facing the county now is a staffing issue that's hit critical levels. And that's the staffing at our county prison. So in the past month, it has come to both Jean and my attention that the prison essentially closed its doors to not allow inmates to be brought in, which is a significant problem. And I have spoken with several police officers. The police chiefs have discussed it at their police chiefs meetings, and they're upset about it. And here's why it's a public safety issue. If the prison is unable to process and intake prisoners, then the police have to hold on to them or let them go. So they either let them go or hold on to them for 6-8 hours. If the police now have to hold on to them for 6 to 8 hours, then you're taking at least 2 police officers off the street, babysitting these prisoners for those 6 to 8 hours. Now, maybe, perhaps in a larger police department such as Ben Salem, they may be able to handle that once, maybe not twice, but maybe once a night. But you take with some of the smaller municipal police departments, say Yardley, some of the boroughs, New Hope Borough.
Oh my God.
So,
Unionville, yeah.
Exactly, where they only have 2 officers on a night shift. And now you take those officers off. There are no officers that are able to patrol the streets and keep our residents safe. So it is a public safety issue. It's a staffing issue. It's a very big concern. It's a crisis. Unfortunately, it just came to Jean and our attention after the fact. And Jean and I are committed to buckling down and figuring this out on how we can
resolve the issue here.
Truly be partnerships with our police departments in solving this.
And certainly an issue and a health concern for the prisoners, because the prison is set up to take, and we're talking about going back to addiction, and
yes.
the prison is set up to take care of these people as soon as they come in. Our police departments, if they have to keep them, they're not set up, because a lot of times these people, and again, as I said before, are detoxing.
Sure.
So, I mean, they need medical attention pretty quickly.
Right.
And I mean, so the prison is set up to be able to do that. So we got to make sure we keep that open. I mean, that again, that's a top priority. And I realize it's again is a staffing issue. a lot of groups and organizations are having problems with staffing issue right now. I know child care centers are. I know drug and alcohol treatment facilities are having problems with staffing issues. Daycare centers are. Everybody's having trouble with stuff. The job at the prison is a difficult job. It's not an easy job. I mean, you're around inmates all day long, so that's a difficult job. So we have to, we got to do, I think, a better job of making sure that we have the staff in the prison to take care and keep the prison open.
And I would just like to piggyback off that one of the big concerns is the safety of our corrections officers. So if there's a critically low staff shortage at our prison, our COs are forced mandatory overtime. And they've been under forced mandatory overtime, I believe, since COVID.
Oh my goodness.
So at least since 2021, early 2021. And that's not healthy. It's in the long run, that just won't work. So again, if we're at 25% vacancy rate, then the security of our COs becomes an issue. These are people that really do put their lives on the line every day when they walk into that prison.
No question. And then obviously your police officers who are used to detain these prisoners because they're not being accepted in the prison. It makes sense. We're going to be short-handed in the streets. And now the citizens are suffering a little bit or they're bewildered. What happens if a crime's committed and there's nobody there to protect and to serve? Mm-hmm. The same thing happened in Philadelphia, Charlie.
Yeah.
It's horrible. We don't want that to occur.
We do not want what happened in Philadelphia to happen here in Bucks County, and Gene and I are committed to stopping that.
And that's so important for you listening, that you have two public servants here that, when elected, they're going to be there to correct this matter. It's been going on for how many? 2 years?
Yes.
And nothing's been remedied yet.
2 years. The staffing issue has just come up recently.
Okay.
It hasn't been going on. I mean, there's been short staff for 2 years, but
short staff. That's what I meant by
the question about possibly closing the prison has just come up recently.
Wow. Yeah, and we don't want to have that happen because where do they go?
Where do they tend to send all the prisoners?
Well,
let them out on the street again so they commit more crimes.
Well, we can't let that happen because in Bucks County, I mean, the judge is on call 24 hours a day. So, they're open during the normal hours. Then at nighttime and midnight and through the early hours of the morning, there's always a district justice on call to arraign a person from all over the county.
Okay.
There's one court open from like 10 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock. The next one judge is there all the time to accept prisoners, hear cases, and decide to let them go, set bail, or send them to the prison.
Sure.
So there's we're open 24 times 7 days a week. There's a district judge there that's available to process prisoners.
But if the prison can't take a prisoner, now you have a constable who would be transporting the prisoners. So constables also would be off the street and babysitting a prisoner for conceivably up to 8 hours.
So protective services are depleted. They have been, or it's becoming more obvious that with the prison suffering now, it's a critical issue.
It is. And I may just add that when I was elected county controller, our sheriff, Fred Herron, was also elected our county sheriff.
Right.
When he came into office, he was facing almost 8,000 outstanding warrants that were not being served, which means they were 8,000 people who had an outstanding warrant roaming around the streets, not being brought in to face their day in court. Gene and I and Sheriff Fred Herron were instrumental in assisting our sheriff in obtaining 8 new sheriff's deputies.
I remember Fred spoke about that.
Yes, we're very proud of that.
Yeah.
And because it was a big ask. To be quite honest, that's a big ask.
Yeah.
But Gene and I did our research. Fred did his research. And it was a very critical public safety concern. Especially with crime on the increase, we could not have those warrants being not served.
So now, the county here is much safer as a result of the people that you approved them to be hiring 8 more sheriffs, which is great.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many of them were felonies. I mean, I think there was a good number of those 8,000 or almost 8,000 warrants.
Even worse.
That were people that had committed felonies.
Serious crimes.
That hadn't been, served a warrant. So Fred made sure from the very beginning when he first got in there that he was going to do something to clean that up. And he came before the salary board, which me and Pam are on for a vote. And
busy. You two are busy people.
Yeah. Many boards that you're serving on, that's for sure.
Yep.
I sit on the and Jean, we sit on the retirement board, which oversees the retirees' pensions.
Okay.
And retirement board, salary board, prison board, and then also the juvenile youth center, detention center board.
Do you get a chance to sleep?
Sometimes.
Yeah, what do they do with the other half hour you have?
Right, the other half hour out of 24 hours.
Yeah.
No, but it's important.
We stay busy, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's obvious that
Yes.
when we speak of public servants, this is what we're talking about, people that really are doing the job out there. Let's talk a little bit about, before you were controller and some of your history. What gave you the initiative to get involved?
So I have to go back just a little bit to my younger years. I was a young mom, and I was blessed to be a stay-at-home mom for many years. But I was a professional volunteer, if you will, just like many of our stay-at-home moms are, professional volunteer. One of my dear projects was being part of starting Falls Township National Night Out. And it was great. I was always a strong believer in police-community relationships and opening communications. That event was a phenomenal event that brought in anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 people. It was a phenomenal event, and I was part of that. I did make the decision to go to law school. So when my youngest daughter was in kindergarten, I have 3 children. My youngest daughter went into kindergarten. I went to law school to become a lawyer. So
God bless you. It takes a lot of initiative to do that.
Thank you.
And time and endurance.
So when I became a lawyer, I was a single mom of 3, and I became in law school, and I really did not have the time to dedicate to public service, if you will. I missed that, and I always said I would someday get back to it. So now that my children are gone and out of the house, I have a little bit more time on my hands. I'm an experienced attorney, so I don't have to work quite those hours anymore. And, I just decided to give back to my...
Back to the community?
Back to the community,
right,
that's exactly right.
To the county.
Yeah.
Now, you've lived how many years have you lived in Bucks County?
I've lived half my life in Bucks County.
Okay.
So I have
20 years, huh?
That's it. Right, exactly. I was going to say the same thing.
Only 10 now.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it's been quite a little bit more than that. But sure, all my children went to Pennsbury School District, from the lower Bucks area, and just love being in Bucks County.
Sure, sure. Now, Jean, you've been a native of Bucks County all your life.
I have, Tom.
Yeah.
And I am so thankful and blessed to be able to live here in Bucks County. And I was born Ben Salem.
Yes, you were.
And I've lived there my entire life. 70,
all 38 years.
73 years old, 38.
You're 73.
Yep.
You got a year on me.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I graduated 68 from Bishop Egan High School right here in Bucks County. I've lived in Ben Salem my whole life, been married 49 years to my wife Donna.
God bless you.
We raised 4 children.
Right.
We had two sons, and we couldn't have any more children, so we adopted two babies from South Korea.
How nice.
Yep.
How nice.
And
God bless you for that.
The 2 girls are right now 40 and 36.
God bless
the boys are, if I can remember, 47 and 43. The
43.
2 boys.
Now, my oldest is 47 now. I can't believe we have children that are 47 years old.
Yep. 5 grandchildren.
53. Holy shit.
My oldest is 33.
Wow. I know. The years go by quickly.
Yes,
that's
they
for
did.
sure.
5 grandchildren.
Right?
Yep. So
5 grandchildren. I have 6. I got you beat by 1, but that's it. They're the life that they bring, the energy. It's just they really keep you strong. They really do.
It's true.
I want to get my bragging rights in. I have 7 children.
Yes, you
and
do.
17 grandchildren and
God
1
bless.
grandchild.
You're blessed.
And I got you beat with everything, all you said.
You always do.
And then you say when you're 40,
right?
You're not old, but when your children are 40,
that's when you know you're starting to get old.
Yeah.
That's, as we say, we're rounding third. We're getting close to third base, or we're in the 4th quarter, hoping for a lot of overtime.
There you go.
We'll return after a few words from our sponsor. Don't go anywhere. We have a lot more to talk with Pamela Van Blunk and Gene DiGirolamo, our controller, our county commissioner, both running for county commissioner. Get out there and vote. Pull the levers. We'll be right back.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota is the choice for your next vehicle purchase or service this season. With new Toyota models available for immediate delivery and over 100 certified used and pre-owned vehicles for any budget, plus service specials to keep you on the road to victory. Shop or schedule online at teamtoyota.net or choose one of our 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Are you part of the team?
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you because your opinion does matter.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Are you a parrot head?
Wasted away again in Margarita.
Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny-O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
We're back with Let's Go Places. It's a program that we're very proud of, serving the community with a lot of information and the roles and responsibilities of many of our people out here that run this county. 600, as Gene pointed out, over 600,000 residents. But we want to talk a little bit right now about Gene DiGirolamo. He's been a lifelong resident of Ben Salem Township all his life. In fact, you worked for years as a young child on the farm, on your parents' farm as well.
Very proud of that.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandparents moved into Ben Salem right around the time of the Depression, like 30, 31, early 30s.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, and I tell this all the time, they had a farm at Grand Avenue and the Roosevelt Boulevard.
Jeez.
That's what my grandfather's first farm was. And he didn't actually own the ground, he was renting the ground. But when the Depression hit, farming was a good thing to be into because people still had to eat, even though there were a lot of people laid off and not working, so farming. So he actually was able to make enough money to put a deposit down on a farm here in Ben Salem, and it's right at where the Chamonix State Park is across the street, right on the Delaware River. Just a great place to grow up. It really was as a child. So I was born down there in 1950. One of the best moments was I was sharing a bedroom with my 2 sisters, younger sisters.
Right.
And we were living with my grandparents, my mom and dad, and had 1 bedroom, so I was living with my 2 sisters. When Mayor Joe got married, because he was living there too, when he got married in 1955, I got his bedroom.
Wow.
I was able to move out of the bedroom with my 2 sisters and have my own bedroom.
Thanks,
so that was
Joe,
kind of
for
like
leaving. Still love you.
Thanks, Uncle Joe. Thanks for moving out of the house.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Anyway, it's a great place to grow up. Growing up, all I ever wanted to be was a farmer and work on the farm. So as soon as I got out of high school, went right on the farm, and started working. About 1970 or so, my grandfather sold that farm. We bought another farm on Humeville Road, had a farm market and a pretty big farming operation. We were farming 500 acres. But
that's
then
a lot of ground.
That is. And plus the things we were growing, Tom, it was all vegetables, which a lot of it were double and triple crop for a year.
Sure.
So like a spinach, you could get like 3 crops of spinach on the same ground, 3 different crops.
That's incredible.
And we used to grow beet. We grew everything: tomatoes, cabbage, you name it, vegetables. We grew it on 500 acres. We had almost 100 employees.
Right.
9-10 months out of the year. So
and 30 raccoons that were crawling around out there.
Groundhog, a lot of groundhogs eating the beets.
Oh,
and the corn and
they
everything.
thanked you too.
Anyway, it was just a great lifestyle. It really was hard work. We worked 7 days a week, and the farming was coming to an end in the 90s because we were the last farm left in Ben Salem. There wasn't a whole lot of farms left down here in the lower part of the county.
Sure.
So we knew we had to do something, either move the operation maybe further down south, or everybody had to find something different to do.
Yeah.
So we all decided we weren't going to move down south, so we all had to find something to do. I was, 40 years old.
Okay.
4 young kids.
Sure.
I didn't have any education, so the
self-educated.
The job for state representative came open.
Sure.
For Ben Salem, and I decided to take a shot at it.
You were the perfect choice.
The last person you would think that would run for public office. I really was. The hardest part initially was public speaking.
Sure.
No experience doing it, so that was the hardest part.
Eloquently doing a great job.
Well, I've raised the bar, but not that much. No? Just a little bit from the very beginning. Anyway, so I decided to run. And I was successful the first time, which is always a very difficult election.
I'll bet.
And I ran for 13 times after that. 25 years I served up in Harrisburg.
25 years.
Representing Ben Salem and initially part of Lower Southampton as well. And it was just such a good position for me, a good job. I loved it. I rose up the ranks and became the chairman first of the Labor Committee and then of the Human Services Committee.
5
which
terms.
I talk a lot. Yeah, 5 terms as chairman of the Human Services Committee.
And that covers a lot of treatment programs.
Well, the same thing
abuse.
we talked about. Yep, it covers a lot. It covers an awful lot of senior citizen programs, people with all kinds of disabilities, and again, autism. It was a really, really good committee for what I really like to do, which is helping people.
Sure.
And that's why
obvious.
People should become elected officials, because they're looking to improve the lives of the people they represent, whether it's on the local level, the state level, the county level, or the federal level. That's why you should become an elected official, because you want to make their lives better and do things to do that.
I had questions to ask you. You answered them all.
Okay.
Golly.
Yeah, we
I had
can
like
stay
a list
home.
of questions. I said, holy geez, you just covered them all chronologically.
Yeah.
You went right down from the beginning when you were a farmer.
Yep. So it's turned out pretty well.
Grassroots leader in the community. I mean, it's no better way to explain it.
And my mentor, besides my dad, who passed away 30 years ago, but my mentor has always been my Uncle Joe.
Joe.
Mayor.
He's always as I always say, is a good friend, my friend, but he's the best friend of Ben Salem Township. Yeah. There's no one anybody. I think he began as mayor. Let me guess. Don't tell me yet. I'm going to say 1994. As mayor?
I ran for state rep in 94. He ran the year before for mayor.
So I was close.
93.
93.
Yep. So
that's how long I know him.
Yep. So
he came down.
Been mayor this year 30 years.
30 years. Yep. Well, when he ran, as I was saying, and then we got involved with much more important matters here for our listeners. But when he was reelected, he came out of the Ben Salem, golf club, the back office, and I was standing there. I said, "Joe, you did it!" And he came over and lifted me up. I thought he was going to break my ribs, squeezing me. Yeah, it was great. For how old is he now, Joe? 84,
86.
86.
Yep.
I'm telling you,
he still has more energy than any 10 men I know.
Oh,
he really does. He's
unbelievable. And and he always tells me, because he's been on our shows many times, and then I was on his Meet the Mayor in Ben Salem. And he would always tell me, I'd be bragging about him. He says, Tom, there's no, it's teamwork. There's no I. And successfully.
He always promotes that.
Yeah.
Always. Everywhere.
It's all the
everywhere
people.
we go.
Yes.
He does mention that.
But he's behind everything. He's instrumental. If he sees the value, the core product that's going to be effective for Ben Salem, whatever it may be, he gets it done.
And you know, you always, for veterans, I mean, he has been 100% behind the veterans since the very beginning.
He is. I mean, he's out there all the time with our events, and he's on our board of directors as well. But
Can't say enough.
yeah, you can't. You absolutely can't say enough. Well,
speaking of team, Gene and I are a team. Please vote for both on November 7th.
it's November 7th.
November 7th.
I was just about to get to that because we have a few minutes left, but I want to give it to both of you. Any things that you want to, anything at all that I think we covered a lot. But can I ask you to come back sometime so that we can cover a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Especially after you win.
After you win, you're going to come back and let us know.
The county commissioners will let you know how we're doing.
And how we, how effective we are.
Just the one thing we have not touched on is fiscal responsibility.
Oh, yes.
Gene and I are fiscally responsible, and that's one of our top priorities in addition to public safety. Really just stop the reckless spending that's been happening these last few years. So,
and that's important.
Just by one example, because I know we don't have a lot of time,
That's
but just
all right.
by one example, you know, they're currently spending a lot of money on lawyers, both in-house and out-of-house, suing two moms who were literally just seeking transparency.
Oh.
So transparency is obviously important to both Gene and I. You cannot have an effective democracy without transparency.
You can't.
And these two are spending money suing moms to not be transparent.
Wow. No, that's important. Gene?
Yep.
words from
Election security and election integrity.
Oh, yes, you did say that. That's important.
You know, that's important to everybody.
Yes.
Here.
Not only from Bucks, but nationally.
Yep. But you know, just looking at, because for 3 years the Bucks County Commissioners are the Board of Election.
Yes.
So the 3 commissioners have been the Board of Election. This year, because we're running for re-election, that we cannot be the Board of Commissioners, which makes sense.
Sure.
Because you don't want people running the election if they're running the Board of Election. If they're
Conflict of interest.
It's a conflict
for election. So 3 of our Court of Common Pleas judges
will be
now
sitting in,
taking over the Board of Elections, and I've been fighting for making sure that our elections are safe and secure.
Yes.
And part of the security is at these drop boxes where the mail-in ballots be putting in. You know, I made the motion at the Board of Elections that we have ballot clerks there and cameras on the drop boxes. So
important.
I think that's really important.
And that will continue.
And that will continue.
Yeah,
Sure.
the security of the drop boxes will continue.
Well, we're very happy and honored to have had you on this hourly show.
Thank you.
And we want to do it again, truthfully. But you are promising that you'll come back
Absolutely.
Yes.
after election, which is November 7th, which you will be electing as the county commissioners. We have Pamela Van Blunk, and we have Gene DiGirolamo. A lot of experience in politics, which is most important.
And also, Tom, if I could, you have a minute left.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
We have a team we're running with of row officers.
Okay.
So there's four other people.
Yeah,
that are
blurt
running
them out
for
real
county.
quick.
Robin Goodnow for Register of Wills.
Okay.
Sherry Labs for Treasurer.
Okay.
Chuck Stockert for Coroner.
Okay.
And Jeff Holgale for Clerk of Courts.
Remember those names. They're very important.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for listening in. This is streamed on YouTube. So we can take this and YouTube it and put it on Facebook, Twitter, so we can get this show out. Many people who will say, oh, I didn't hear the show. Well, you have an opportunity to. You can stream it and bring it up on Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We're going to educate you a little bit about the world of technology, because then you'll enjoy it. I know I have a lot of people that listen. and spread the word to the neighbors. It's important. This is Tom Mellon on behalf of Let's Go Places, Paul Muller, our sponsor, Charlie Esposito, Bree, who keeps me in check all the time, our guests here, Gene DiGirolamo and Pamela Van Blunk. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
And
so
as I
much.
say at the end of all my shows, Charlie, be safe, stay well. Jerry, I'll be coming home to walk the dog, so I don't know when, but sometime today. And most importantly, God bless America.